tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Star Wars Rebels After Show, Season 2, Episode 16/18, depending on how you're counting, Shroud of Darkness. If you guys have not done so already, please be sure to go on over to iTunes, subscribe to us there, leave us ratings, leave us reviews. We love hearing from you guys. Also, if you are listening on iTunes, as our most recent iTunes review points out, you should totally go over to YouTube and watch us live, because then you can also see our beautiful faces, talk about things in our beautiful voices,
and watch us conduct music that we are definitely not talented enough to be conducting.
Specifically Star Wars things, because that's what we're talking about, Star Wars Rebels, because this is the Star Wars Rebels After Show, of course. Thank you, everybody who is in the live chat right now. We are monitoring that, as well as that hashtag ABTV Rebels, which is probably my favorite hashtag at all of AfterBuzz TV. I have to say, it's pretty great. Also, just a little shout out to myself and my co-hosts here. There is a thing that is called the Star Wars Podcast Fan Awards.
That's right.
And all three of us were nominated in the Fangirl Host category. So thank you on Studio Lines.
Which I had no idea it existed until you tweeted that out and went, by the way.
I know.
Like, lol, what?
Yeah, so thank you to whoever nominated us, because apparently you had to be nominated for it. So you guys are all wonderful.
Go vote for us.
Yeah.
We'll tweet the link.
Go vote for us. We'll tweet the link. And if
One of us will put it in the comments of this episode on YouTube.
Exactly. So if you want to read that Twitter link, you can totally follow me, Emma Fyffe, on Twitter at Emma Fyffe, or Megan Salinas.
Hey, I never thought I'd say this. It's an honor just to be nominated. You can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin.
Or Katie Cullen.
I would like to thank whatever Academy votes for this. I would like to thank the entire internet. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet.
And someone who is not nominated in the Fangirl Host category, but is our very special guest here today on the After Show, is the wonderful and talented Taylor Gray, a.k.a. Ezra Bridger on Star Wars Rebels.
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
I love that they can write in. Like, if you guys don't know, that's all I'm reading. Megan got a haircut.
Yes, she did.
See,
you're learning so much already just by reading the live chat.
Oh no, I noticed that one. That was me.
Oh.
Yeah, it was
Wait,
all him.
so basically what you're saying is you've been internet stalking Megan.
I've been watching you guys, or all you guys.
You mean watching the podcast, right? Not like watching us.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Sure. Okay.
That's safer.
Great.
My favorite person in the chat so far is the person who is asking us not to spoil them for the episode. If this is your first time watching, we are an after show and we are going to recap the episode. So what I recommend doing is going to watch the episode and then coming back for the recap, because we will definitely spoil you if you haven't seen it. That's the point of the show.
I agree, yeah. I never tell people to stop watching or listening to anything that I'm doing, but there will be spoilers. That's the point. Yeah. So let's get into this, because Twitter, before we went live, before we had a chance to watch the episode out here on the West Coast, Twitter was going crazy about this episode. So
this is the only time people have direct tweeted me, you're gonna like this episode, and not spoiled me for things.
Yeah.
Like, that happens so much on my other shows. You guys are great.
No, I was gonna say, I have to say, so Megan was tweeting at us, and who else? Felix was tweeting at us, and you guys were great. Just
Billy
being like,
was.
Yeah, Billy Paulhan was just, and everyone was just like, you guys are gonna love it, but you didn't spoil anything for us, so thank you.
Super appreciate that.
We
You
really
have no idea how often that happens.
Yeah, we really appreciate that, because I was so happy to go into this, like, expecting something good, but not knowing exactly what to expect.
Yeah.
And I was just delighted. This episode was great.
Oh, the Temple episodes always are.
Yeah.
There's just something about them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. Now, I want to address specifically the very beginning of the episode, because there is a sick lightsaber battle that happens there. And so I want to know from you, Taylor, because you are the voice of this character, but you don't necessarily actually actively participate in lightsaber
funny.
battles.
That's the one thing, lightsaber battles, that's one thing watching the show that we have no idea how it's going to turn out. He'll be like, this is epic, like, you're going to love it, but we have no idea. All we're doing is like, like that's really what a lightsaber battle consists of for us. It's just grunting, the jumps, but seeing it, that was one of the crazier ones we've had, I think. And it's because there's both Inquisitors.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's pretty gnarly. I liked it.
The first time that you ever saw Ezra animated in like a lightsaber battle, did you feel like, oh, this is
you're
me?
like, I just got 5 times cooler. Even though you really did. But that's how you feel.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you did.
Yeah. I feel like the even the actors that are in, the Star Wars films probably have something of a similar reaction in some ways, because it's like, yes, they do participate in it to a certain extent and kind of share responsibility for that with their stunt doubles, but like the laser part of the lightsaber itself, like that's all animated. So
it sticks in green screen.
Yeah.
Like they have colored sticks to show how long it is.
Right.
And there's blooper reel of them accidentally hitting each other.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor does the best blooper reel because he just doesn't care. But yeah.
That seems appropriate.
But no, even them, when they watch, they're probably like, oh, that's me with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Vroom, vroom.
I mean, that would be my reaction. So, anyway, so yes, we open on this super epic lightsaber battle, and we're not 100% sure how we got here, but we're in the thick of it. And of course, the 2 Inquisitors who've been absent from the past several episodes, we haven't seen them for a while, are back in action. And Ezra almost falls over a cliff.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of teamwork.
I gotta
And
say,
then he summons giant manta rays
Yeah.
to be I just keep calling them sea pancakes because of that one Tumblr post, but it's like, here we go.
Yep.
This works. He's Radagast.
Yeah.
I do want to say that, like, for maybe for people who don't know, like the casting and everything for this show, probably the funniest part of the episode was the moment between Kanan and the Inquisitor.
Yes, I totally agree.
Because for those of you who don't know, they're married in real life.
Yep.
Really?
So that bit, you didn't know that?
Yeah, you didn't know that Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. were married?
I feel like I should have, but
Yeah, they've been married for a long time.
Long before Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
I ship fictional characters,
Yeah,
guys.
no, they've been married for a long time.
So that whole exchange was like a big inside joke.
Yeah. No, I definitely got a good chuckle out of that, especially because she was talking about, like, hey, you're handsome.
He's like,
I
don't
prefer
date
brains. I don't go for crazy anymore.
Yeah.
I want to see this covered in the comics now.
Yeah.
Like, when did Kanan go for crazy?
Maybe. Yeah, I have to agree with you too, Renji, in the chat, that Ezra, like, when did Ezra become a Beastmaster? Yeah.
I love that. Let's start calling him that on the show. Hey, Ezra the Beastmaster, can you go take Chopper on an errand?
That'd be great.
I just keep thinking of that 90s live action show.
Oh, Beastmaster, 100%.
Well,
100%.
Ezra's becoming kind of like the Aquaman of space.
Yeah, he kind of is like Space Aquaman, yeah. Yeah, he seems to have a real deep psychological connection.
He connects with every animal,
Yeah.
every space
But he
creature.
seems to be particularly good at connecting the ones that, like, in all other universes would be under the ocean.
Yeah, like the Purgle.
Yeah.
And also occasionally cats.
A love
Yeah,
cat,
the love
yeah.
cats. Yeah, the love cats are they're a good time. So basically, then the sort of conclusion of this is that we are brought up with the age-old trope of us staying with our friends is putting them in danger because the Inquisitors are hunting us down because they're trying to kill the Jedi. If our other friends get killed by the Inquisitors, it's just because they were in the path to us. Exactly, it's collateral damage. So we gotta try to figure out what we're gonna do here, because every time they go off on their own to try to establish a base for the rebels, it doesn't go very well because they get ambushed by Inquisitors.
It seems to me like the seventh sister is the one that's doing all of the tracking, because it's her instincts that are leading them places, and, brother's just kind of looking at the dust. Oh, they left.
I mean, she's
Like,
the brains.
you're helpful, bro.
She's definitely the brains of this operation, and he's just there to, like, beat stuff up.
So I feel like if they take her out, problem solved.
I agree. Well, and they do have that dilemma of, should we continue to just kind of avoid them, or should we hunt them down and, like, take care of this? So nobody's really sure what they want to do, so they gotta consult someone who knows better. And so Ahsoka comes to the Ghost for them to sort of run things. by her.
Real quick, Tim Houlihan in the chat, you and I are going to have words about just how useful Aquaman is. Buddy. We're going to talk.
So basically, Ahsoka shows up, and when Ezra comes in and discovers Ahsoka on the ship, she is watching these, like, training holograms of Anakin.
Oh, Anakin.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's just sit there and make it worse.
Yeah.
Just make it worse for yourself.
Well, and she's not even really watching it. She's just got her eyes closed and she's just listening to it.
Yeah.
She's just listening to the sound of his voice. And it's like, this is heart-wrenching. And I love that the show doesn't have, like, the show kind of assumes that you already know their history.
Yes.
Because of Clone Wars. But even if you don't, like, it's very clear about, like, what their relationship was, but without, at the same time, without having to take you through 6 seasons of Clone Wars to make you get their relationship.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. Yeah, you definitely get that sense of these were people who were very deeply connected to one another and were good friends. Now, Taylor, for you coming into Star Wars, were you sort of up on the Clone Wars stuff? Did you know who Ahsoka was? It's okay if you weren't.
I'm not going to lie, because I haven't lied this whole time. I had never seen an episode of the Clone Wars.
Bro.
And the extent of what I have seen in the Clone Wars now has been when we're in a session, everyone else has seen it. I'm not going to put anyone else on the bus, but a couple people on the show also have not seen any Clone Wars. But we can all guess who that is. They'll bring up a conversation about something that happened, and Freddie will immediately pull up on his phone and be like, yo, you got to see this. So I have seen scenes of, like, Previs, the fight with Previs, and no idea.
And other people.
It was really impressive. It was really cool. But I've seen a handful of things like that, but I haven't seen an episode. And Dave prefers it that way just because he's like, Ezra has no knowledge of that. Why would you do that?
I actually completely agree with you. That makes total sense. Yeah, because it's really interesting because it's like we as the audience are coming into this for the most part knowing who Ahsoka is and having this sort of level of respect for her based on what we've seen from her previously, but I still think that even coming in blind, as Ezra the character
he really is,
does,
yeah, Ezra the character, so why not be like that as well? I didn't know if Ezra, I'm not even gonna say that. Well, the first time Ahsoka was coming to record an episode, I was like, oh, is he gonna, like, when's he gonna come in? And he's like, Dave's like, that's not a he, like Ahsoka. And I was like, oh, yeah, all right, perfect. But he's like, he was laughing, he's like, that's perfect. Ezra has no idea who Ahsoka is.
I was gonna say, but that would totally be Ezra's reaction, so it's totally great. I love it. Yeah, I'm trying to remember, somebody, since you brought up Dave, I'm trying to give credit to the right person on Twitter, asking how cool Dave Filoni was. I can't find who it was because there are a lot of tweets. But yes, somebody wanted to know from you, Taylor, your thoughts on Dave Filoni.
Are you kidding? Dave's the best. He knows more about Star Wars than anyone I've ever met.
I totally agree.
And it's amazing to just sit there and pick his brain. He can answer anything and everything. And he can also, there's a reason behind every single line of the show. Mm-hmm. And that's impressive because some shows, every other line they're like, that doesn't even make sense, but there's a reason for every single thing that happens, and he knows why, and it's so cool to just talk to him about Star Wars.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I feel like it would be like being with a walking encyclopedia. Yeah, absolutely. So we encounter Ahsoka, and we have a little thing about like, oh, Anakin, he was the greatest ever.
No.
Was being the operative word there.
What happened to him? He's missing.
Yep.
Sure. Let's go with that.
And Ahsoka also is like, I don't really know what to do about these Inquisitors. We would always ask, somebody else like Obi-Wan or Master Yoda. Hint, hint.
No one knows where Obi-Wan is right now.
Yep.
Where could he possibly be?
Hiding under a terrible pseudonym on a desert planet.
He didn't try, did he?
No, he didn't. There was no effort put into this. Let's go to the planet where he grew up, leave his kid there, and, I'll stay there and just change my first name because I do not have a distinctive last name at all.
Yeah.
And yet they never found him.
Yeah.
I don't know who failed in that chain of command, but they never found.
It is kind of funny to think about how relentless the Inquisitors that we see on the show are in terms of hunting down our current Rebels crew, whereas Obi-Wan's just kind of allowed to just do his thing. Like, no one even bothered.
I know. Well, Anakin didn't know his kids existed, did he?
No, he thought they were
So
dead. Yeah.
Now that you say it, that does sort of seem like a glaring plot hole. Though we did get a little context for Ahsoka, because basically in Clone Wars, Ahsoka goes away after the end of season 5, and then you don't see her again in season 6. But they wanted to make more Clone Wars than they did. So when she says, I saw Anakin running off to protect the Chancellor, that sort of suggests that she saw him right before the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. So, there was a time between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith where, she was back and around.
Fan fiction territory.
Yeah, right?
Or at least in the general vicinity. Clearly not doing Jedi things, but
Right,
there in
right.
some capacity.
Absolutely, yeah.
We have Stephen Gamion in the chat. Will Vader call her Snips to freak her out when they fight? I just want to hear James Earl Jones say Snips. I would be down for that, just to have that audio clip. Snips.
I know. But the sad part is when you take it out of context, it sounds ridiculous.
I know what the context is. It's still hilarious.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. If that happened in the show, I would get really sad.
Oh yeah.
You would giggle and then you'd be.
I would be really sad. That was the nickname he called her.
I caught on to that much. I'm now gonna. Ahsoka. Ahsoka is now Snips.
Exactly. Yeah, and you now know Ahsoka is also a lady.
Yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? I'm the biggest Ahsoka fan there is now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's totally a super great character.
Oh yeah, and it was always fun to record with her. Ashley was in there for all the scenes we saw today. She's great. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you get to work alongside a real Star Wars veteran at this point.
Oh, and she knows Star Wars very well. Yeah. Very well. Her and Dave, if they just start a conversation about Star Wars, you could just sit there and listen for hours.
Yeah.
Go back, go make some popcorn, come back,
just
just sit
popcorn.
there.
I know.
Do you ever see the resident Star Wars experts get into debates about...
You try and stir up debates, and I'm very good at that because I'll ask a question that seems so obvious, yet they'll be like, no, it's this way. But Pablo Hidalgo...
Oh, yeah.
Is everyone familiar with Pablo? He knows, languages in Star Wars, and he's the one who... When we have a big episode as far as there's new terminology and things like that, he'll come down actually and just be in the booth and we'll throw questions like, how is this pronounced? Why is this way? And he knows a ton of Star Wars. So Pablo Hidalgo, he's on Twitter. He answers tons of questions. He's always on the Rebels Recon.
Rebels Recon. Yeah. No, that's so awesome. Yeah, I love it. I love just sort of the richness of this universe, that there are all these made-up languages.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It doesn't. You'll never learn everything there is in Star Wars.
No, yeah, that's something you definitely have to accept.
Yeah.
When you get into Star Wars, you're you know what? I'm going to enjoy what's right in front of me, and I'm going to do my research. But there are whole.
And then there's the EU.
Space. Yeah, absolutely.
Not even touching the expanded universe, which is all non-canonical now, but even outside of that, but there's just so much. It's like an onion. There's just so many layers.
Apparently,
and it makes you cry every time.
Yeah. So just getting back to Ahsoka. Apparently, Billy Paulahan in the chat says that Ashley Eckstein's husband played for professional baseball.
Oh, see, he's just trying to get to my heart. That David, that's her husband. I'm the biggest sports fan, obviously.
Yeah.
And when we went to the first Star Wars weekends in Orlando, as soon as we arrived, there were huge people in Star Wars, and I immediately made a beeline for his name's David Eckstein because I grew up going to Angel games down in Anaheim, that's where I grew up, and seeing him play all through my childhood. So we hit it off, and he's amazing because he loves Star Wars and talks about it, but you can tell at those things he's I would love to talk about anything. Everyone at a certain point is how can we just talk about cheese now? Like we've talked a lot about Star Wars.
Exactly.
Who's gonna help me get out of this? But everyone, like, it's fun to talk about Star Wars. But we literally spoke for days on end about his career, and he remembers all of it. And so that's pretty funny because I always bring that up anytime Ashley's around. I ask how he's doing.
That's so great.
Yeah.
No, I love it. That's wonderful. So basically they all kind of agree. They're like, all right, we gotta go try to find Master Yoda, because apparently Master Yoda has, been appearing in visions and just audio visions in Ezra's case.
Well, he's bored, so he listens in on other people's phone calls.
That's yeah. I mean,
Just picks up the party line.
I mean,
Hello.
I assume at this point he's like chilling, hiding out in the Dagobah system. Like, I feel like timeline-wise, that's probably already occurred
In exile somewhere.
I was gonna say because
reasons.
Yeah, because by the time Luke gets there in Empire Strikes Back, you get the feeling like he's been hanging out there for a while.
Yeah.
So yes, he's just listening in on other people's conversations, using the Force the way it was intended.
To spy on other people.
Yeah.
As you do.
I totally get, and I don't want to like judge for people who do have like this huge weight on their shoulders and feel like they failed in X, Y, and Z reasons. But like, is it just a Jedi thing where if you didn't do as good as you hoped you would do, that you just exile yourself off to a faraway planet because that's what Yoda did, that's what Luke did? I don't get it.
I'm gonna just say yes.
Well, Luke
just
is
a
because
Jedi
he's a
custom.
Skywalker man, and Skywalker men can't handle anything. So
That's true. Leia has
tell
to
me
do
I'm
everything.
wrong.
Yeah, I know Leia does kind of have to do everything. So anyway, they go to Lothal to go to the Jedi Temple to try to like get in touch with Yoda and be like, Master Yoda, what should we do? All of these I always am afraid when people go into these Jedi temples because
But they're not going to come out the other side.
yeah, kind of, because I mean, the thing about the Jedi Temple, and this kind of goes back to what you were saying, Megan, of the like, I didn't do as well as I wanted to. Like, for some reason, like, Jedi just have a tremendous amount of guilt. It makes sense right now because, like, most of the Jedi were massacred.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're alive, you're gonna have survivor's guilt.
Absolutely.
Which Kanan and Ahsoka, I think, certainly do. Though Kanan's storyline in the Jedi Temple didn't really seem to be about survival's guilt so much.
No, it seemed more about like insecurities about being able to protect his Padawan.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like the survivor's guilt thing for him is a heck of a lot of been there, done that, we get it, can we move on?
Yeah.
And so that would just be old ground. There's no reason to go over it again.
Yeah.
Well,
This is new and interesting.
Yes, it is.
And for him too, it's a lot of unfinished business because he never did get knighted. So what?
I'm just laughing. Mitchell, I will talk about Ahsoka and Vader. I'm saving it for last, okay? It was like a big deal.
Gracious. We're getting there, guys.
What's so funny?
We got 18 minutes. We can do this.
It's
Let's
gonna be
roll.
fine. Yeah, I like when people in the chat like tweet, they like write at me in all caps to try to get my attention. It's great.
Like, we're getting there.
Yeah,
We're getting there.
I promise we'll talk about it. But yes, continuing to talk about the encounter with the temple guards and Kanan.
I have to do this. Ryan Watallison says the Jedi are like Catholics, lots of guilt.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say the Yoda looks kind of like Larry David. That's hilarious.
I have enough Catholic guilt to go around for like everyone, so I'm with you on the Catholic guilt. May the Force be with you and also with you.
I was gonna say when Dylan was on the show, we used to do that all the time.
Oh man.
But,
If you're raised Catholic, that's how you respond.
But to get back to the fight with
Kanan
Kanan,
story, yeah.
I was not expecting that reveal of the Inquisitor being a
Oh my
knight
God.
in any
neither.
capacity.
Me neither.
Because it looked like Kanan was familiar with the whole Temple Guard thing, because
Sure,
that's
yeah.
immediately what he said, like, no, one of you guys, great. But just having the Inquisitor show up and be like, oh, I have missed your ridiculous face.
But
I was not expecting that reaction from
I
myself.
kind of like, I think it was Dave Filoni or one of the showrunners who said that there's nothing they dislike more than a cardboard cutout, like like a two-dimensional villain.
Yeah. You can't have two-dimensional villains. They're not compelling.
And so we got that very much with Callus in the last episode. And then even after he's dead, we unexpectedly get a lot of depth from the Inquisitor.
I know.
Just from like 30 seconds of screen time.
Oh, Star Wars has the best villains. Like, they're unbelievable. My question is, what happens when you're knighted?
I mean,
you're now Sir Kanan. Like, what? Past that,
well,
what?
I mean, I think that it was supposed to, because Kanan never officially like graduated into being a Jedi.
Yeah.
So
Because
like
everything went to hell.
yeah. So I feel like that was sort of an acknowledgement of being like, hey, Kanan, you're doing okay.
Okay.
See, now here's what I worry about, because we have to make these line up with the movies somehow, and it's just like, there aren't any Jedi left at this point at all.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
The galaxy's a big place.
It's true.
Yeah, but when you're all connected by 1-800-YODA,
Listen,
it's kind of tough.
Obi-Wan has been just chilling on Tatooine, like no problem.
Working on his suntan.
So I feel like there's a possibility they could survive this, but not in a happy way, in a like they go forever into hiding kind of thing.
Or we could be in denial, like plug our ears and close our eyes and just assume that they retired and are just rolling with the Mandos.
We really do need T-shirts.
Yeah,
we need to like
I totally
put them on
agree. I
T-shirt
totally
or
agree.
something.
So let's talk about Ezra and Yoda's interaction.
Their talk.
Can I ask, was Frank Oz recording with you guys when you did this one?
He wasn't there when we recorded that one. But he has been there to record, just not that one.
Oh.
That must
Intriguing.
That's probably not at all intimidating in any way, shape, or form.
Very intimidating. And, the first time I met him actually was at the Star Wars weekends as well, and he is the kindest dude ever, and he's worked on everything, the biggest things you can imagine, which is so cool, and he has so much knowledge about all of this that is so cool, and he was there from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just, again, like, bringing in that sort of, like, legacy of Star Wars, and that's the thing that's really interesting. I mean, particularly about, like, Ahsoka, because she, within the animated universe, has interacted with pretty much all of the main characters, certainly all the main characters we see in the prequels, and then the fact that she's not in the films at all, it's crazy to me that the people who've only seen the movies don't know anything about that character. But just kind of circling back to the Yoda thing, man, Frank Oz, I feel like I would totally freak out to be in his presence.
You just need a fan and a fainting couch.
Yeah,
Oh.
I absolutely would. But I like his interaction with Ezra, because for me, I find Ezra to be such an interesting hero, because in ways that, and don't hate me for this, guys, but
here we go.
I find Ezra to be a more interesting hero, and I find Rey to be a more interesting hero than like Luke, because I feel like Rey and particularly Ezra are not as good as Luke is.
Yeah, Luke is paint by the numbers, hero's journey, everything.
Yeah.
This is where the Mary Sue argument comes in. Well, Rey's a Mary Sue. I'm sorry, have you seen Luke Skywalker?
Yeah.
Ever?
Yeah.
Look at this man. He's perfect at everything.
But something kind of a constant refrain in this episode, and it's been touched on numerous times throughout the series, is the line that Ezra walks between the light side and the dark side. And there seems to be this kind of like, he could very well go to the dark side at some point.
Absolutely.
If things go south.
Yeah.
Is that something you would like to see from this character? Or like, as somebody who's like
I can answer that. I
Personally
would love to entertain that. I can't say what happens, but I bring this up. I think that the most powerful Jedi would be someone who is like, yes, I'm a Jedi, I'm on the good side, but I also have dabbled in the dark side, and I understand it, so I can understand my enemies and know all of this, and then stuff happens in episodes we have not seen yet, so who knows what
Things
he'll end up
occur.
doing.
Things occur. Well, and I feel like for me too, like that's one of the things that I always really liked about Star Wars as a kid, weirdly enough, was this idea of, being a Jedi, and how that line between good and bad was so easy to like.
Well, it's easy to go to the dark side.
Exactly.
When you get mad, you see you're stronger. Everything. Well, this is an easier route. Why not just do this? But it really makes everything else go south.
Yeah. No, and I remember as a kid like being very aware, because I was a very like emotional child. I was like, oh, I would not be a good Jedi.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I am
I
as a
would be a Sith
person, and that's why it works. Ezra is the same way though. Ezra is very emotional for a Jedi, and they talk about that a lot. And Kanan is always bringing that up with him.
Yeah. Every Star Wars Rebels fan that tweets at us all the time on Twitter, they all want Ezra to be.
They all want him to go to the dark side.
No, but they're all like, he's Supreme Leader Snoke, and I'm like, he's probably not, guys, but that's okay.
They're not going to tie it into the movies. That is not a thing that's going to occur.
That's a really out there theory.
But before we really get into the meat of the Ahsoka, Anakin, Vader, what have you, the reference they made at the end, where they basically were like, you know, we need to seek Malachor, and it's like, who's Malachor? But it's what's Malachor? Malachor is a place. And Malachor is the place where there was like this crazy battle that took place, and they were the ones that had the plans for that crossguard lightsaber that Kylo Ren made.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the Knights of Ren are basically
Exactly. Yep.
I don't trust any place or anything that has the Latin stem mal in it.
That's probably fair.
It literally means bad.
Yeah.
Literally.
It does.
That's place naming 101.
It does.
It kind of is.
Place and character naming 101.
Malachor, yeah, that sounds like a super trustworthy place. What's it right next to? Oh, hell.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, perfect.
Cool.
Love it.
It's right next to a volcano.
Yes.
No big.
No, that was that other place.
Mordor. Got it.
I was thinking of the volcanic planet where Anakin got disarmed, but
okay.
oh no, I like Mordor
So just one
better.
thing, because Ryan Watallison in the chat said something about Chopper. I wrote down when they first arrived on the planet, they're like, Chopper, stay here and keep watch. I was like, oh, Chopper is gonna fly away with the Phantom. Now, granted, he did it for a good reason, but like, I immediately was like, no, let's not trust Chopper.
For a second there, yeah, I thought he ditched them.
And
I was the one that pointed out, once he knew the Inquisitors were coming, moving the ship away from where it was blatantly present was the good thing to do, because if he destroys the Phantom, they're hosed.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was the prudent thing, even if it was just like, you look terrible.
Yep.
You homicidal little robot.
Yep. So let's dive into the Anakin, Ahsoka, Anakin / Vader. Oh man, you guys.
I really think this was the Temple making her face her guilt over that.
Oh,
I don't think the Temple was like, it's your
that's
fault.
what the Temple's
It was
for.
like,
It's-
think about this. Think about this.
Let's bring up your darkest secrets, whatever's on your mind,
Yeah.
and you're gonna have to confront that and go through it, because that happened the first time they went to the temple as well. But that storyline is insane.
Yeah.
And it has to eventually come to an
It does.
end, right?
No, I mean, it definitely does. And I mean, the thing is, so, yeah, I totally agree with you, Katie. It was the Temple making her confront this guilt. The thing is, again, as you bring up, Taylor, like, the Jedi temples are all about, like, tapping into that, like, what's deep down inside that you're denying.
Yeah,
And
it's like I mean, not to like go back to Empire Strikes Back like all the time, but
Only what you bring with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is 100% that same thing.
And once again, it's like Ahsoka did leave. She left the Jedi Order. Well, first she was banished, but then they were like, you can come back. And she's like, nope, I'm good.
But yeah,
Once bitten, etc., etc.
Yeah, exactly.
no, the choice of words, that's very much her feelings. You abandoned me. It was selfish of you to do that. That is 100% coming from her own heart.
Yes.
Anakin, if he was not who he is now, if he was still the master that she knew, he would never say that.
No.
He would welcome her back with open arms, and he's like, you did what you felt you had to do.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's not. I mean, and again, it kind of plays with that idea of, okay, so as they brought up when they were looking at the little, like, hologram of Anakin being like, yes, he was a great warrior, but more important than that, he was so kind and he cared so much. And ultimately, that was his undoing. It's like any kind of powerful emotion can very easily go bad.
I saw big long theory on Tumblr, and it's one of the funniest things I've read in a while.
Okay.
That they should have just put Anakin in charge of the younglings, because he forms attachments really easily and he's really invested, and that none of anything else would have happened if they had just put him in charge of the children and had him teach the young children.
I think there's merit to that theory.
It's like 1,500 words of just writing out how it would happen, and it's ridiculous and adorable and involves Darth Sidious leaving him voicemails. I'll have to dig it up. It's one of the funniest things.
That sounds great.
Keep him out of politics and just make him a babysitter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's take this really volatile, potentially powerful guy with very low self-control and put him in the middle of a war zone. No.
Perfect.
You go watch the children. They love you.
I will say,
Ta-da.
though, it is having this bit, it's a really good parallel, again, with Ezra, because Ezra's formed such strong attachments to the people around him.
I agree.
And that's, like, his driving force right now is this makeshift family that he's created.
Yeah, he's a war orphan.
Yeah. And, you know, if somebody like Anakin could go to the dark side and become, like, you know, the greatest threat to the Jedi, it's very easy to see why maybe, I don't know, somebody... I'm going to stop.
Yep. Taylor, did you have any, like, inspirations when you were creating the character of Ezra, when you were first auditioning or when you were first doing the show?
I've kind of gone in with the whole, and so most people understand this. I didn't know tons about Star Wars, so I was like, this is a cocky kid. He and I was like, he's a Jedi, so he can do whatever he wants, and that's Ezra. So whatever he wants to do, he'll do. And when I was in the audition, I remember being late to audition and being like, I'm not gonna go in to my agent, and she's like, just go. And I was like, I'm not. I'm an hour late. This is ridiculous. I'm like, I come from something else. I was sweating. I was like, I'm not going. She go in. And I remember Dave was dying laughing. He's like, who is this guy? Because I was just confused. I didn't want. And then we got to the first session, and we all everyone had their sentiments about Star Wars. Like, this, that. And I was like, yeah, I was on one time when I was at my buddy's house when I was younger. And they're all like, they all have their guns pointed at me. I was like, I'm like, that's it. And Dave's like, no, don't change that. He's like, keep that, do not watch anymore, and go from there. So Ezra has come from that. And then I've now learned a lot about Star Wars because as each new thing comes up that Ezra sees, I also see, and I take that in. And that's how Ezra's built too. And Dave has been amazing in helping create that character and make him what he is, because there's a lot of levels, and we're going to see a lot more depth in this character. But he's so fun, and he's very cavalier, and he does what he wants.
I love it. Yeah, he's great.
Have you had a particular favorite moment while recording, at least for the series so far, that you can talk about?
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't want anything for future episodes.
It was definitely because I asked this question for the first, I don't know how many episodes it took, but it was when I got the lightsaber. That was for sure. I mean,
that was
for
the moment,
sure the thing. Because you see, naturally when you're acting in there, you do whatever you can to act it out while still staying around the mic. And you would see Freddie all the time with his pen. He had his lightsaber out, and I was like, gosh, I just want one of those things. And now I get to hold mine out, and it's just hilarious, and I have a good time with that. So,
do you use a pen?
A pen, yeah.
Awesome. That's great.
I literally have. There's nothing else to use in there, so I just have a pen, and I'm like swinging it at whoever.
As you're creating all of the efforts for your lightsaber battles. Yeah. I love it. We are running short on time, so let's dive into some real quick predictions, and then
your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Oh.
I just wanted to say we had Vader at the end of this episode.
I know. Yeah.
We found a temple. Yay.
We're like straight up in the like. It's going down. It's going down.
We're in hell.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like this is the beginning of hell for the rest of this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to more character depth because for the villains, because we got it from Callus, we got it from this Inquisitor. I'm waiting for when we get the Seventh Sister story.
I'm sure we will too.
I'm like, what is your deal? Come on, just please let me know.
Because she's so like smart and manipulative, and
the robot.
Yeah, and she enjoys what she does.
She sure does. She's real evil.
She has a little parrot droid.
Yep.
I feel like she needs a backstory because right now she's really cool, but she's also really flat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, you're terrifying. Why?
Yeah, but I think that they're interested, and you're like, there's got to be a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone really care about the other one?
And
it's just kind of there.
But I like finding out a little bit more about their relationship because there is a lot of tension there, and yet they're kind of stuck together.
Yeah.
So it is very much like this brother sister, but like also intense hatred rivalry thing.
Totally.
Going on.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. But like, they didn't have to give Callus depth. They didn't have to give the Inquisitor depth.
No.
And they did. So I feel like that's just going to be kind of a reoccurring theme for the rest of the episodes leading up to the Vader-Ahsoka confrontation.
Which is inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's in the title, basically, of the season finale. But, that's
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Approximately our time. Taylor, thank you so much for
you guys
coming in and
for
hanging out
having
with
me.
us. Yeah. Do you have anything that you're working on right now that you are allowed to talk about that you want to talk about?
Nothing I'm allowed to say. I'm literally, if you can't tell, I'm sitting here like, okay, what can I say? What can I say? I'm just playing it safe.
That's why he's just engrossed in the chat right
watching,
now.
Well, these are the funniest things.
So if you were in the chat tonight, rest assured, Taylor saw what you're saying.
Yeah, I will say one thing. They were like, can you tease anything that's come up? And the most I can say, because I've been trying to figure out, like, what's a safe thing to say? Everything that each one of us saw in the temple, that storyline is gonna come around this season.
Oh,
foreshadowing.
Ooh, that's awesome.
For the last 4 episodes we have?
Maybe I'm wrong then.
Yeah.
This season?
He's like,
Maybe not.
Next season.
At some point.
Yeah, at
the
some point.
future.
Yes. We already know there's a season 3, so exactly. Yeah. Excellent. So, Taylor, where can people find you, keep up with all the things that you're doing? He's just going to be here all the time.
He's our 4th host now.
On like Twitter or your we're getting
we
played
got
off.
me.
It's
I
like
was
the
like, yeah, we got
Oscars.
music coming in. It's just I am Taylor Gray.
Awesome. Katie, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet. I'm also on Snapchat at Kia Prime. I have all of the shows, and half of them are on hiatus, but Robots in Disguise is back. It's Sundays at 7.
Awesome. Megan?
I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz. I write articles for the movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. I just posted one about Hellraiser that I'm really passionate about. Go read it. And
yeah.
And I'm Emma Fyffe. I can be found all over the internet wherever Emma Fyffes are sold at Emma Fyffe, which is my name. I'm on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz TV as well, and I do lots of stuff all around LA and otherwise, so follow me on Twitter. You'll know all about it. I want to give a shout out to Master Spence for your lovely review on iTunes. Thank you so much for that. And if you guys leave iTunes reviews, we'll give you guys shout outs too, because we like to hear from you and it makes us look good.
And vote for them.
And vote for us. Vote for us. Vote for us. We'll tweet out those links as well, so you guys can vote for us as being your favorite fangirl hosts. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I believe we are off next week. We will let you know if we find out otherwise, but otherwise, we'll be back in 2 weeks, same time, same place, to talk more about Star Wars Rebels.
Thanks, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.